Heather Evans of Calgary. You could win groceries for a year if the kickoff's returned for a touchdown in today's game, thanks to Safeway Sobeys' $1 million touchdown to win promotion. And should it happen a second time in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Heather. It's the Hall of Fame game in Hamilton as we go upstairs to Rod Black and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Rod. Hello, Canada. A steamy September Saturday in Steeltown, and a weekend to honor 7 greats who brought their stories and their glories to Canadian football. Back in Tim Hortons Field, home of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame.
And a couple of quarterbacks who are having Hall of Fame type seasons. Bo Levi Mitchell, terrific as always. He brings a 10-0 career record into this game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. By contrast, Jeremiah Masoli, who's having a terrific 2018, but still looking for career win #1 against the Calgary Stampeders. In fact, still looking for career touchdown pass #1 against the Red and White.
June Jones and his team have peeled off 3 straight wins. However, a long drought against the Calgary Stampeders, 13 straight losses. Trying to end that streak today. Dave Dickinson's team. Dave Dickinson, by the way, class of 2015, member of the Hall of Fame. His team has not lost back-to-back games since late last year. They come in angry after losing a heart-stopper the second half of their Labor Day rivalry game with Edmonton last week. So here we go, the Horses and the Tiger Cats. It's the Hall of Fame game from here at Tim Hortons Field. And newcomer Shakir Ryan near his 10-yard line. Ryan picks his way up near the 35-yard line. We're going to talk more about Shakir Ryan throughout this ball game. Again, the main focus, no Brandon Banks, but they still have their guy right now, Jeremiah Masoli.
Yeah, Jeremiah Masoli has been the perfect fit at quarterback in June Jones' run and shoot offense. 300-yard games, certainly a regular occurrence, and they seem like they're starting to find some consistency and starting to find some confidence in their finish over the last couple of outings.
Both teams missing some key personnel into this one. They met opening week. Calgary won that game, but it came down to the final couple of minutes. Masoli going deep right away, chucking it up, and feet getting tangled downfield.
Yeah, Terrence Tolliver trying to work back to that ball as it was underthrown.
No flag on the play.
Tolliver, the #1 receiver, outside man on the wide side of the field. You see pushing deep. Masoli decides early he's going there. Underthrown ball, just incidental contact. Leads to him getting tangled up and going down.
Second down. They run a little screen here for Alex Green. Green has a first down. Alex Green, big-time plays over the last few weeks for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Second down conversion.
Alex Green lined up right behind that goal post in the backfield, sets up. You see the wall setting up in front of him for that screen. Alex Singleton coming downhill. Middle linebacker right behind that post. Nice inside cut move. You don't see Alex Singleton miss many, but Green had him that time.
Green gets the rock again and is stopped going up the middle. Stuffed right there after a gain of about 3 yards.
They take a look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats offense, conspicuous by his absence. Of course, their #1 deep threat, Brandon Banks, he's out of the lineup. Felix Faubert-Lucier starts in his place. Riker Matthews has become one of the anchors on this offensive line from his right tackle spot, playing particularly well as this team has found its winning ways.
Tied atop the East right now, looking to grab first place in the East against the 9-2 Stamps, and another second down conversion. Luke Tasker has been that release valve, and he has really turned it on over the last few weeks. Had a bit of an injury bump early in the season, but since coming back has been doing this and more.
Yeah, Luke Tasker certainly picking up the slack in what has been a banged up Ticats receiving core this season. This is 20th catch for a second down conversion this season. No question, particularly with Banks out of the lineup, who is the go-to guy for Masoli.
First and 10 from the Calgary 45. They drop 9. Hit screen for Mike Jones goes nowhere.
That's just a fantastic play from the Calgary secondary. Trey Roberson, big loss in the defensive line. Micah Johnson nursing a hip flexor injury. He's out at D tackle. Mike Rose in his place. Jameer Thurman has been fantastic, arguably one of the most underrated players in the Canadian Football League here in 2018. And Emmanuel Davis makes his return to Hamilton, city where he was a big play guy for the Ticats in that secondary over the last few years.
Delay draw for Green up near the first down marker. Had to get to the 34. Looks like he's going to be near the 35-yard line. And June Jones looking to the sideline. And they're going to bring out Lirim Hajrullahu, and they're going to go after a field goal here on third down. It's a long yard and a half, almost 2 yards. So
yeah, I'm going to call it 2 yards. Wanting to come away with something after a positive opening drive, especially when you know you're missing some of your weapons on offense, that points may not come quite as easily as you'd normally anticipate. Good use of the screen and draw in that opening drive for Hamilton in terms of looking to manage the Calgary pass rush over the course of the game.
This from the 43. Hajrullahu puts it up, and he's wide right. Way wide. And trying to pick it out now is Terry Williams, and might have thought better. Should have given up one there. Long field now for Bo Levi Mitchell. The Cats are on the board, not the way they wanted to. The Bo Show. 9-2 season, coming off a loss last week. Almost was able to pull it out. Undefeated against Hamilton. What a great weekend here in Hamilton. The Canadian Football Hall of Fame honoring a great lineman, a punter, great DB, a builder, and a writer, and a coach. Of course, it's the Canadian Football Hall of Fame honoring all levels of football, and we'll talk to the Super 7 representatives of throughout today. Congratulations to our inductees and our MC last night. Great job, partner.
Thank you, my friend.
Hall of Fame induction last night here in the bleachers, as a matter of fact, at Tim Hortons Field. Juwan Breskison, such a huge catch in the opening game. This Calgary offense missing some key personnel, especially in the receiving corps.
Yeah, they certainly are, much like Hamilton when you talk about guys like Kamar Jordan, Eric Rogers being on the sideline. Reggie Begelton filling in, targeted 12 times last week. Great guy to have coming off the bench. Keep an eye on the center position. Neela Kazatati has moved into that starting lineup.
The island of Samoa, former Oklahoma Sooner. First time in the lineup, and a tackle for a loss. Adrian Tracy, that's his 6th tackle for a loss this season. Doesn't have a lot of sacks, but guess what? Adrian Tracy's in the backfield a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in Adrian Tracy. This is a guy whom I believe can really be an impact player defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You know, so much of their identity comes from the guys in that linebacking core, but watch, Tracy just beats Randy Richards to the inside, takes a bit of a chance. You know, but gambling, Bo Levi Mitchell's not typically a guy who's going to pull that on the bootleg, so he takes a chance, shoots that inside gap, and comes up big.
Shakir Ryan is back near the midfield stripe, his first game as a Cat. Rob Maver from the goal line, good kick into a slight breeze. Ryan takes it on the one hop. Big kick by Maver. Ryan going backwards. Didn't work out that bad for the Stampeders after Terry Williams brought it out of the end zone. Now Jeremiah Masoli's turn. His second possession in the Hall of Fame game today from the hammer. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. September scorcher in the hammer today. Close to 30 degrees, humid, hot. And the races in the CFL heating up too, especially in the East. Jeremiah Masoli's second turn with his offense in this one. Now, parents that Richard Lawrence is into the lineup. Lawrence, minimal gain. And Jeremiah Masoli can make Henry Burris move over today. 300+ yard games in a single season. 9 for Jeremiah, and Hank is right behind him. There's Henry, getting ready to work today.
He's trying to pretend that he doesn't feel the pressure, right?
Both sides, he played for both of these teams.
He is the hunted.
He is being hunted down by these younger guys today. Masoli has to step up, but he's going down. Garrett Davis was in there. James Vaughters got to him first.
Look for that Calgary defensive line. Keep an eye on the right side of that defensive line for James Vaughters. Bookending Jagarrett Davis today. A couple of high motor guys.
Hairelahu had a kick blocked in the opener, almost had one blocked there. Ball is bobbled. Another long field for Bo Levi Mitchell. Terry Williams cut down by Jay Langa. Quickly downfield in a game of field position so far. The Hall of Fame game. Tiger Cat has not crossed the Stampeders' path. Unlucky 13 games. 14 if you count the Grey Cup in 2014. It's been a long time for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, they certainly have. You see all the numbers there. Now, of course, that last Hamilton win over Calgary came in Moncton.
Not really a home game.
Yes. So the last win for the Ticats over the Stampeders here in Hamilton, September 18th, 2009, 9 years ago.
3,285 days ago. Long time. Barack Obama was the president. Stephen Harper was the prime minister. Things were a lot different, and the Cats played at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
Yes, looking for their first win here at Tim Hortons Field.
Mark and Michel on the receiving end moves the sticks up near the 25. Calgary offense ranked #1 in so many categories. Points per game. Close to the top in net offense. Omar Morris, who had a huge game last week, 4-touchdown game.
We'll take a look at this Hamilton Tiger Cat defense. Jason Neal's been steady from his D tackle spot. He's got Tedler on back beside him in the interior this week. Larry Dean, of course, is the leader and anchor from his middle linebacker position. In the secondary, Richard Leonard. And at halfback, Josh Johnson in for an injured Jamal Roll at the field corner position. So Johnson certainly showing his value and versatility early in his Tiger Cat career.
Meeting up with Lamar Durant, that near side of the screen. Play does not get off here, and Bo Levi
Time
Mitchell.
count violation, Calgary, number 19. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat second down.
Noise is a factor. Bo pointing to those speakers in his helmet, could not hear, and hence that time count violation.
It's interesting to see these first two starts for the Calgary Stampeders. We know that they are very much a field position team, so to speak, in terms of philosophy and decision making, that will often be what drives their decisions.
Sending out 5 receivers. Bo stands in. Into traffic. Tavares Daniels tried to one-hand that, but that would have been extreme. And so, again, it's punt time for the Stamps.
Yeah, Tavares Daniels coming out of the slot. You're going to see as he sort of takes that outside release, but then trying to work back into the seam. The number of defenders converging around him. Tight window for Mitchell on that one.
There's tiny Shakir Ryan, 5'8", 169. First game with the Cats. Was with them in training camp, was released and then called back. He basically had to call 911 this week. He's got lots of speed. Breaking it outside here. Oh, wow.
And that's got to be a flag.
Shamir Thurman looked like he just reeled in Shakir Ryan. And
from this angle, that looks like a horse collar tackle.
This is like trying to, remember when you're trying to grab somebody out of the back of your swimming pool or something like that? That's just yanked him. Might have grabbed him by the hair. The dreaded dreads, he got him by the hair. Guess what? That's not a penalty. Not a penalty. One of our 7 honored inductees today. Guy who's done so much at almost every level of football and has written about the great game in Canada, Frank Cosentino. Grey Cup champion, Vanier Cup champion, and he's with Matthew Shinetti.
Yes, Rod, and we were just discussing that play that went into break and tackling someone by their hair, and it's not a penalty, as Frank Cosentino just told me. But more importantly, to your honor, Frank, you've done so much in this game, won Grey Cups and Vanier Cups. When you're inducted in the Hall of Fame, where does your mind go to?
Well, Matt, it's a special situation, and I'm honored really to be part of this program and to have that recognition, because it's completely unexpected.
In terms of your Grey Cup honors with the Ticats, you're part of such a great time for Canadian quarterbacks. When you think, what teammates, what moments do you think back to in that time?
Well, every team I played with 3 teams, 7 with Hamilton, 2 with Edmonton, 1 with Toronto. I can't really say that I met anybody that I didn't get along with, that I wasn't happy with, that I knew was giving 100% to entertaining the crowd, but especially trying to live up to their own reputation. It's just a tremendous experience to be part of it. And as a Canadian in my home country, in Hamilton, it meant a great thing to me.
And in terms of being a coach and an author of the game, what do you want your legacy as a coach to be?
Oh, well, it's hard to say. I think what I tried to do with the players was to create an environment where they felt that they were able to pursue their objective and develop their talent. And if I did that, it was worthwhile.
Thanks for this, Frank. Appreciate it. Congratulations again.
Thanks again, Matthew. Yeah.
Congratulations to Frank Cosentino. Congratulations to Trey Roberson. Has an interception here, his second. Jeremiah Masoli, tons of improvisation on the far side, but might have wanted to bring that back and eat that one as he threw it into traffic. And Roberson looks like he has the interception.
Yeah, nice diving effort here from Trey Roberson, college quarterback, but as we've mentioned this season, comes by his coverage talents, honestly, the grandson of
Hall of Famer
Larry Highbaugh.
Appropriate that Trey Roberson should have a pick in a Calgary team that leads the CFL and turnover ratio. -7 the last few games, but they're at +10 on the season. They normally score points after turnovers. Trying to do that here. Under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Morris knocked down, and some heavy hitting going on here today. Just to clarify, back to that play, the hair play.
Yes. Legal because it's the hair and not the jersey, but something honestly is long hairstyles are part of today's world that, I think they've got to look at, because if you look at the reason why horse collar tackles were outlawed, it's because of how dangerous it is to pull a guy down from that angle, from that position. It's not any different pulling on the hair than pulling on the back of the shoulder pads. It's the same effect. So from a safety point of view, and we know how big the league is on that right now.
And here's a pick, and Larry Dean looks like he has a pick 6. Touchdown, Hamilton. The Cats pick back and take it to the house. The dean of the Hamilton defense has a huge interception, his second of the season, and the first for a touchdown.
Yeah, Larry Dean just gets on his horse. If you saw where he started, he's up in the line of scrimmage. Great drop. He's watching the quarterback the whole way, reading the eyes to get in that passing lane, get underneath and help out. Big play from the Ticats defensive leader to give his squad a boost.
Put them on the board here. Lirim Hajrullahu from the 32-yard line with the PAT. And the first points of this ball game are off a turnover, but not a Hamilton turnover. Calgary turnover. The Cats, 60-yard pick six by Larry Dean, have a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, you watch again. Larry Dean is up in the line of scrimmage. He's going to start calling his signals, but then he's going to bail out of there and get underneath in coverage. You watch as he goes on his way. You'll see him turn his head. He's going to look right at Bo Levi Mitchell. He knows he's coming to that slot. Terrific coverage from the DB to jam up the receiver. That allows Larry Dean an opportunity to get in that lane and come up with a big play.
On Hall of Fame weekend, you know he recently was a Hall of Famer back in his hometown. Back in Clifton, Georgia, and also Valdosta State. He's a Hall of Famer there.
Yes, sir.
And the Doc, the guy they call Doc, Jerry Glanville. In black, sunglasses on.
Discussion between quarterback and receiver. Lamar Durant was the intended receiver. He got jammed up by Don Unamba on the play. Mitchell looked like he was expecting him to break that in a little bit more.
William Longley. Sherbrooke product bringing the kick out and some extracurriculars after.
Jay Langa drawing the attention of several Calgary Stampeders in a scrum.
Larry Dean brings that defense back on the field, and a defense that has been so solid since the start of the season. And they went without an interception for so many games. They have caught fire, Hamilton, leading the CFL in so many defensive categories.
Jerry Glanville has been a quick study in the Canadian game. Certainly having the support of Orlando Steinauer on that coaching staff doesn't hurt.
Far side, almost another. Richard Leonard knew another step and he was gone. Tavares Daniels hauls it in and bringing it in for a loss. That was so close to another pick six.
You see Daniels, the inside man, keep an eye on Richard Leonard, the halfback, making a break here. He's spying, he knows his man's trying to set up to block, so it's got to be a hit screen.
There's the legend joining June Jones this year. The Cats with the #1 pass defense in the CFL. Drop 9. Bo down that far rail. And way overthrown, and an injury on the far side of the field, and Tavares Daniels went down just suddenly.
Yeah, last thing either of these teams need is an injury to a receiver.
Yeah, looks like maybe a cramp of some sort, maybe a hamstring, but again, it's so hot today to watch out for potential cramping that's going on, but he just went down suddenly. Already without Kamar Jordan, Eric Rogers.
And you know, you take for granted so often with the Calgary Stampeders the depth that they have. He's going to wheel this up the sideline.
Right on the cut, and all of a sudden he just sure what it was. He was clutching his helmet at first in his chest.
I mean, it didn't look like it was anything contact related with the man in coverage.
And he's up. Trying to get an update from Matthew Shinetti, but that was a strange one indeed. He's holding his arm.
I started to say, you take for granted the depth. I mean, this team loses Eric Rogers, they lose Kamar Jordan, you know, but they still have the last 2 West Division Rookies of the Year in Tavares Daniels and Mark and Michelle. You've got a guy like Reggie Begelton who comes off the bench after 6 games on the shelf, not being able to get active when everybody's healthy, and they have enough confidence in Begelton that they throw the ball to him 12 times last week. So there is certainly depth there. You add in the Canadians, Breskison, and easy to forget how much this team is actually missing because of the guys that are still there, but at a certain point, there is that tipping point.
So Daniels goes to the sideline, and again with 2 minutes to go, first quarter, and a 7-0 Cat lead. Rob Maver is going to launch it for Shakir Ryan again. Ryan out of Northwestern State. Line drive right into the sun. And knocked down that time. Pretty good starting point for the Cats. Good for another 300-yard game. Has been such a breakout season for him, arguably one of the candidates for East Division Most Outstanding Player.
Yeah, I think certainly when you throw for 300 yards virtually every week, you have earned the right to be in that conversation.
Play action and accumulates some more yardage here, finding Tasker. Trey Roberson watching him. Calgary side of the field near the 47-yard line.
Luke Tasker working out of the slot. They go trips into the boundary, so into the short side of the field. Nice route combination there with Tolliver looking to clear out deep. Roberson actually makes a nice break to come off on that ball. Good communication in the secondary.
Another first down. Delayed draw for Green. Swallowed up. Sets up a passing down. Again, these two teams met opening week. Calgary won 28-14. That score a little deceiving. Masoli throwing the pick late in the ball game.
The Ticats pressing late in that one. Certainly had a chance to win, and one of those games that's part of the discussion about maybe the turning point. We talked about the Edmonton game for Hamilton a few weeks ago in terms of learning how to win, getting the job done late in games, whereas early in the year that was something they struggled with, using the Calgary game as an example.
4 receivers, near side of the field. Mike Jones, first down marker. Cats coming in with good second down numbers, second overall, 53% this season in the league.
Ticats in max protection there. 7-man protection, a little more time for things to develop. Good read from Masoli. They get coverage dropping off on that wide side, wide out. Z receiver Mike Jones. Masoli puts it out there to keep the defense honest.
Jones, born in Texas, but Canadian roots, a national receiver. Again, that read option that goes to Alex Green, or Hawaii Warrior.
The Ticats brought in another former Hawaii star on the practice roster, Chad Owens.
June Jones loves those Hawaiian players. Guy who has become a transplanted Hawaiian.
Yeah, Owens, a guy who had some big years at UH under the tutelage of Coach Jones.
4 receivers again for Masoli. Steps up and going high, but not coming down with a football. Final play, first quarter. That was Terrence Tolliver, incomplete. So a pick 6 is the difference here so far. Larry Dean with the score. Two of the CFL powerhouses going at it today in the Hall of Fame game in Hamilton on TSN. One of the newest Football Hall of Famers in Canada is this man, Scott Laurie. 2-time outstanding lineman, 9-time CFL All-Star, 3-time Grey Cup champion. That for a Saskatchewan boy, head coach of the Saskatchewan Huskies as well. And Scott Laurie joins us now. Hall of Famer. How does that sound?
Yeah, it's still kind of surreal, to be honest with you, Rod. It's wonderful. It's you know, when you get a chance to reflect and everything it means, not only all the teammates, everything your family's done, all the coaches, all the players, it's remarkable, really.
And I know you had a lot of the family with you last night, but also a few former teammates. What did it mean to share that opportunity with them?
You know, to get presented by Anthony, who I spent my whole 15-year career with Anthony Calvillo, to present my jacket, and going in with Barron, and then having guys like Dave Mudge was there as well. He came down for it. It's really special. Those are you know, fantastic men and great friends for a long, long time.
Liram Hajrullahu boots it through. When you got the call to the Hall, what was that like?
Yeah, it was kind of surreal. It was. I think that, you know, since I was done playing, it doesn't seem like that long ago. I'm only a couple years old, but to get that call was really remarkable, and it floods back so many memories. And that's really what it's about. It's about the locker room. It's about the guys, and about all the memories of winning games and championships and all that stuff. And just so blessed, just truly blessed.
When you look at what that team did, it was almost a dynasty at the time, and you had the fortune of being a bodyguard for Anthony Calvillo and all of the guys on that team that are going to have what you have, those Hall of Fame rings. It's quite a brotherhood, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think, you know, I got to see guys like Mookie Mitchell and Pinball were there last night, and, you know, going in with this class with Hank Illicik, with Brent Johnson, with Baron Miles, and yeah, it's remarkable. It's just, like I said, it's such an honor, and just a kid growing up, just loved to play the game and got a chance to do it, and lucky enough to be here in the right place at the right time, I guess.
Scott, I know last night you spoke about the influence of your former college coach, Brian Towers, who entered the Hall of Fame a year ahead of you, but a man for whom you took over at the U of S. Just talk a little bit about his influence and maybe looking to fill his shoes.
Yeah, no, BT's a tough act to follow. There's no doubt about it. He was there for 33 years as the head coach, so I don't know if I'm going to have that long a tenure there, but you know, he was just such a great friend and great mentor, and really set the foundation for the program. So I'm just trying to do my part
on the return.
To bring us back up to that national prominence. And that's going to take time, but we're on our way, and we've got a great group of young men. And unfortunately, we played last night and lost a tight one, but we'll get back, and we're on to next week.
I know you were celebrating. Did you get a chance to look at any film over the next couple of days? Did you reach out to some of your boys?
I'm on a plane here in the next little bit, about an hour or so, and I'll review the film tonight.
The coach's work is never done.
Never done, absolutely not.
Backed up here, Stampeders. Another long field in the Hall of Fame game. Bo Levi Mitchell down 10. His team down 20 last week, though, fought back. Almost pulled it out against Edmonton. So much time left in this one, though. A hard time getting it on track offensively because of this defense here in Hamilton. When you look back at everything and what you've done in the game as a player, what's your greatest memory? Or are there too many?
No, there's a lot. I think you gotta. It comes to me as the first Grey Cup in 2002, because you know, when I got there, the franchise was trying to get over the hump of getting to the East Division final. We got there, then we got to the Grey Cup in 2000 and lost in Calgary, and then to get back in 02 with Don, it was all fresh, and man, that was just remarkable. And then the back-to-back. I mean, to do it once, you know, the first year, and then, you know, the resiliency of that team to go back-to-back in 2009, 2010, that was remarkable. I was so proud of that football team because we were a lot of the same guys.
Mitchell over the top, and it is almost picked off. He also talked last night about coaches, now that you're a coach, and the influence I know Brian Towers had, but Don Matthews and Mark Trestman, and how important they were in your life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just think, again, I reflect, maybe it's just the right place at the right time. That Jim Pop just saw something in me back in '98 and drafted me. I don't know. He had me and Cahoon. Cahoon went first, and then I went second behind Ben Cahoon. And I don't know. And then just to get 5 years with Don and then 5 years with Mark, and both are two of the greatest coaches, bar none, that this game's ever seen. And for me to spend, you know, be able to spend that much time with them it was remarkable, and I'll never forget that. And I'm forever indebted to those guys.
Thanks for spending so much time with us today. Welcome to the Hall where you belong.
Thank you very much, Rod.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
Scott.
Scott Laurie, living in the Hall of Fame. Player, champion, coach, Canadian Football Hall of Famer. This day's kind of like a playoff day, isn't it? A lot on the line today. Rough Riders riding high. Tonight a Mosaic hosts the Ottawa Red Blacks, who are watching this game with interest. Come into Week 14 tied atop the East with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Bad news for Dave Dickinson and the Calgary Stampeders right now. Tavares Daniels has gone to the locker room, is doubtful to return. It's what looked like an innocuous injury on that far sideline.
Tough year to be a receiver in the Canadian Football League.
Masoli trying to extend this play with his legs, pushed out of bounds. Couple of yards, maybe. Oh, just looks like he got to the line of scrimmage, so another throwing down here. Key in this ball game has been second downs and second down conversions.
Yeah, Calgary has struggled in that department as they've been held off the scoreboard. Bo Levi Mitchell been perfect on first down, 4 for 4 on first down, 0 for 4 passing the football on second downs for the Stamps. Big second down here for Masoli and the Ticats.
3 of 7 on second downs. Loading up the box, they bring it. Read option and they give it to Alex Green, and they will bring out their kick team.
Alex Singleton was like a dog on a bone on that one.
Last year's outstanding defensive player. Mention his name a lot, coming off the edge.
Keep an eye on Singleton. Very left side of your screen up in that jet position at the line of scrimmage. Motor keeps running, making a play. Just about a yard downfield on the opposite side of the formation.
Ira Lahu. Shadows starting to creep over Tim Hortons Field. There's a flag on the field on the return. Class of the CFL last year, Alex Singleton defensively. Tracking down another Alex. Hard hitting one here in the Hall of Fame game 2018. A guy who was a Red Baron and an Orange Baron. BC and Montreal, Baron Miles, another member of the class of 2018. What a terrific class last night. Inducted officially here at Tim Hortons Field. Two-time Grey Cup champion. Look at those gaudy numbers, Dwayne Ford. 66 picks, 13 block kicks. That's a CFL record in 12 great seasons.
Yeah, an absolute impact player, and Baron Miles continuing to have an impact. Now coaching the DBs for the Edmonton Eskimos, passing on some of that wisdom. But you know, one of the smartest, most instinctive defensive backs I would say ever to play in the Canadian Football League. Tied for second on that all-time interception list. Only Les Brown, who presented him last night, had more in his career.
Baron had to leave.
Had to get back to work.
That's what happens when you're an assistant coach, man. You got to get back in the film room.
He said last night before the ceremony, he said his players are texting him, watching film, asking questions. So even on the day of his induction, he was still doing some coaching from long distance.
Another flag. Reggie Begelton. Congratulations to Baron. I'm sure he's watching today, and another very deserving member, Canadian Football Hall of Fame. You know, every time a Hall class comes around, there's always debates of who goes in, who goes. When you
offside, Hamilton number 49. Penalties declined. It's first down.
And Major, our referee today, moves the sticks after that. When you pass the eye test, that's when you know you're a Hall of Famer. Baron Miles passed the eye test.
Well, certainly. I mean, Miles is a guy who had an impact from day one in his Canadian Football League career.
10-0.
This is a rookie and just went from there.
Mitchell, quick hitter. Richard Sedani's going to get some playing time today. This former Calgary Dino who spent time in junior football and also with the Regina Rams. Subs out right now, but their depth is being tested, Dwayner.
Well, it certainly is. Then we've talked off the top. Eric Rogers out for an extended period. Kamar Jordan now out for the season. Tavares Daniels went down in the first quarter of this ball game.
Mitchell floats it back out. Now a flea flicker looking for. He's got it, Breskison. Down inside the 15-yard line, there's a flag. And what a toss by Markin Michel.
Interference. Hamilton, number 6. The penalty is declined. It's first down for Calgary.
Little razzle-dazzle here from Dave Dickinson, Bo Levi Mitchell, Markin Michel, and Juwan Breskison.
And nice execution all the way around from the Stampeders, as there are some details they've got to take care of on this play. Obviously the timing, the path of Markin Michel to make sure he's behind Bo Levi Mitchell when he catches that football. A nice adjustment to make a play on the ball because Josh Johnson stayed with it. Breskison had to make an adjustment to that football, come up with the big catch.
Stamps looking to answer right now, get on the board. Mitchell, sidearm, tosses it away. It'll be second down inside the red zone, inside the 15-yard line right now. After that huge play, the biggest play so far from the Stamps offensively. They lead the CFL in big plays.
Keep an eye on that left side of the defense, right side of your screen. Julian Hauser in that D-line rotation. And a little rough with the Stampeder quarterback.
Longest drive for Calgary so far. Lots of time for Bo. Here comes the rush. He throws, and it's a touchdown. Markin Michel dances in the end zone, and Calgary's on the board.
Man, you talk about threading the needle. Bo Levi Mitchell did it there. Mitchell getting on the move. This will be a great view of the throwing lane. Right down the pipe, in between a couple of defenders. Perfectly timed. Tell you, with the bad luck that the Stampeders have had with injuries to their receivers, Markin Michel might want to go easy on the celebration. That was a little vigorous.
They can't afford any more injuries. Both teams losing so many receivers, and Stamps inch back, down 3. Big play first to Breskison. Michel was the thrower. This time he's the catcher. And the touchdown for the Stamps in the Hall of Fame game.
Markin Michel set things up. First with his pass to Juwan Breskison. Then he becomes a receiver. And you're going to see he's just working down the field and sees the scramble and starts to bend it in. Essentially, he just ends up between levels as the Ticats are in zone. Delvin Breaux is playing in front of him. Next defenders are in behind him. He's got a level to himself, puts the hand up, lets Bo Levi Mitchell on the scramble know he's open. Mitchell able to thread it in there before the free safety, Mike Daly, can get all the way over there from the middle of the field.
26th touchdown pass of the season for Bo Levi Mitchell. Ryan gets a couple of big blocks, and Shakir Ryan could go. Shakir Ryan will go. Oh my goodness, is this guy fast. Goodbye touchdown. Shakir Ryan virtually untouched. Got some great blocks from his convoy. And in his first CFL game, has his first CFL touchdown.
The Stampeders got flattened out a little bit in terms of their coverage. There wasn't much of a second level there. And as you can see, it was almost shocking that once Ryan came through the first wave of would-be tacklers, there was no one else there. Take a look as Ryan catches this football. The wedge sets up in front of him. Ryan kind of disappears into the pile, and as soon as he pops out the other side, usually you've got a second level, a second wave of coverage guys there. There was no such thing as Hairolahu is wide on the extra point attempt.
Terry Williams, if he took it back the other way, would have brought 2 on the board, but does not. And there is a player down.
Yeah, that's Williams slow getting up.
Slow getting up, but how about Shakir Ryan?
Yeah, and take a look here. You'll see everybody on the field with this all-24 look. Shakir Ryan, the deep man, catching that football. Ducks in behind his wedge. You watch, as soon as he comes out from the wedge, he's got that lane right up the middle. As soon as he emerges from the wedge, there is nobody else. That last man that you see down, that's the kicker. So nobody else there in behind, in support to make a play. Got to stagger that coverage a little bit more and provide some backup.
104 yards for Shakir Ryan. Really into the lineup in many ways because of Frankie Williams being out and also Brandon Banks being out. How about this Hamilton Tiger Cat team over the last decade? Go through the names of players in their first games, almost first touches,
yeah,
who have taken balls to daylight.
Yeah, remarkable. Some of them still around the Canadian Football League, obviously, when you talk about guys like Marcus Thigpen, Brandon Banks, the injured Chris Williams. But others along the way, Quincy McDuffie.
So the Stampeders now have to rally back once more. Hamilton has scored twice. Defense and special teams.
Yeah, I was going to say the Stamps defense is holding tough, having not allowed a touchdown. Yet they trail 16-7 here in the second quarter.
Undaunted though, Bo Levi Mitchell hands it off to Omar Morris. Again, huge week last week against the Eskimos. 4-touchdown game. One off the Stampeder record of 5. Native of Salisbury, North Carolina. Former Tar Heel.
Big day. Again, one of those depth positions. Next man up. Don Jackson goes down. Omar Morris comes in with a big day, over 150 yards from scrimmage for him.
Oh, again, loads of time, and Morris is absolutely crushed by Lucas Waka, getting some reps. Waka, whose brother is a St. Louis Cardinal, usually throws fastballs. Waka hits a home run here.
He sure does. When you talk about separating a receiver from the ball, this is it. Waka arriving with authority right here. He's been a special team stalwart for the Ticats all season.
Bit of a sidewinder here. Will bounce down to Ryan. Cutting back and not going anywhere this time. Fumbled the football, picked up, and Tunde Adeleke is scoring.
Yeah, and they've got to play it out. Good job by the officials to let it play out. Obviously, they'll have a look to see if he was down before that ball came loose.
This could be a touchdown. No whistles. The signal on the field would be touchdown. Tunde Adeleke. Johnny on the spot here. Let's see if Shakir Ryan is down. And no.
He's not. He's not. That ball is out.
That ball is...
Great heads-up play as the Stampeders get a special teams touchdown of their own.
So Shakir Ryan, in his first game, takes one 104 yards and then gives one right back.
And you watch the play of Jameer Thurman. We talked about him. Again, one of the most underrated guys in the league. This is a guy who is not only dominant on defense from his weak side linebacker position, equally dominant on special teams. He's been among the league leaders in tackles on teams all year. He's the guy that pops that ball out. And Adeleke with the scoop and score. Huge touchdown, huge turn of events.
This game is kind of reminding me of
further review, the touchdown is confirmed.
The Saskatchewan-Winnipeg game we did last week, as a matter of fact. Top seed turnover game so far.
Nothing's ever been so easy.
Carlton Raven, Tunde Adeleke.
I thought they were standing right behind me.
Right place, right time.
Yes, sir. He's not even going to build it up. As he says, never been so easy. Ball lying in front of him, close to that goal line.
Rennie Paredes puts it through, and Delicate scoring midway through the second quarter. 3 touchdowns in a few minutes, and we're scoring them every which way possible today.
Tell you what, this ball game is living up to its advanced billing so far. This is one that, as this week opened, I think many people had circled on their CFL schedule as a potential game of the week. Hasn't necessarily been pretty.
No. Hard fought, though. Lots of intensity, and Delicate silences this crowd at Tim Hortons Field. So Shakir Ryan, costly fumble after taking one to the house. Again, players going down here. Deveris Daniels in the locker room, getting out of this ball game. We've had some injuries already. Depth being tested on both sides. And here comes Shakir Ryan once more. Needing to hang on to that football.
Ticats look to recover from that big play against. Tunde Adeleke returns to the field with the Calgary Stampeder defense.
On the longer fields now for the Cats. A year ago around this time, the Cats were just before Labor Day at 0-8, and June Jones taking over. And certainly changed the fortunes of this ball club. Comes the blitz. Masoli standing in and chucks it away. Last moment, and pressure now. Jeremiah Masoli. There was no one in the vicinity of that football.
A good save by Jeremiah Masoli to throw it harmlessly. Keep an eye here on Jameer Thurman, continuing to have an impact here on defense, following up his big play on special teams. Working to the quarterback off the twist. Impact player.
Another second down key here. Little pump. And delivering up near the 32-yard line, Terrence Tolliver. And will move the sticks. 12-yard pickup.
Second down conversion there. Masoli to Tolliver. Once again with Thurman in his face, this time Masoli able to get the pass away.
I think you might see more from Tolliver with Banks out and Saunders out. Williams. We shall see, and in the backfield, Sean Thomas Erlington. We've heard that Alex Green also back in the locker room, might be out of this ball game temporarily, at least for now. That could be a blow to the Cats.
Yeah, the Cats in a fortunate position with the depth they have in terms of their Canadians at the running back position. Sean Thomas Erlington, Mercer Timmis have both had opportunities to play extended minutes, extended snaps. This season, they certainly have confidence in both of those guys. But Alex Green's been a big part of their offense in recent weeks.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. This is picked. Emmanuel Davis comes back to Hamilton. The former Ticat haunts his old mates, and another turnover here. Under pressure once more, and Masoli is picked off by Emmanuel Davis, his former teammate.
Well, keep an eye here on Jameer Thurman. He's going to come around the horn. He's the guy, just a monster right now, who supplies the pressure on Jeremiah Masoli.
Poorly thrown ball by Masoli, and it was all because of the pressure.
Yeah, twist to the inside. Thurman getting through. He supplies a little bit of heat, leads to an underthrow. And Emmanuel Davis doing what we've seen him do in this stadium so many times before. Picking off the pass.
Now the Calgary Stampeders feast on turnovers. Again, number 1 on the turnover ratio chart. Number 2 on points off the turnovers. Going to pile some more up here. Bo with the football on the run. Nice catch by Begelton now near the 20-yard line. Very quiet Tim Hortons Field right now as Bo Levi Mitchell picking up some steam here. 18-yard gain.
Well, Mitchell needed a little extra time for this one to develop. Begelton's coming from inside and trying to work back out as he sees his quarterback on the move.
First and 10 from the red zone. There's Morris churning. Down near the 15 will set up second and half that yardage. Simone Lawrence right up in the face of Romar Morris.
Yeah, nice execution there on the screen for the Calgary Stampeders. Sucking in the pressure, the pass rushers for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Holding that protection for a couple of counts, letting them go as you saw in Pepperon. Charging up the middle before having that ball dumped off to the running back.
And the Cats with the best red zone D in the CFL coming into week 14. Giving up one already today. Whistles. Says the ball was snapped.
Time count violation, Calgary number 19. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
Second time today that Bo and the Stamps offense flag for a time count. Loud crowd here in Hamilton. Trying to end a long drought against the Stamps. Getting close to the 3-minute warning before halftime. Mitchell stands in and goes up high. And coming down is Begelton. Down near the 3-yard line. What a great catch. And that extra effort picks up more yards, and the Stamps will go first and goal. How about this from Reggie Begelton?
You get a sense of why the Stampeders don't press the panic button. With receiver injuries with Reggie Begelton coming up with big plays just like that.
3-minute warning on the field.
Back at field level at Tim Hortons Field, Rod and the guys getting set for halftime 3 minutes away. We'll talk about a strange first half. Touchdowns coming every which way, and a strange first half for Shakir Ryan, the newcomer. I don't think Milt liked that hair tackle, by the way. Also, the latest. We'll talk about the latest inductees into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, too. Just a few minutes away as we go back upstairs to Rod and Dwayne, guys.
Well, thank you, our Hall of Fame panel down there. Matty Dunnigan looking dapper today. They're sweating bullets down there, though, and a hot one. First and goal after the Begelton great catch. Morris bashes forward, will stop at the 1. Simone Lawrence able to keep him from breaking that plane.
The Stampeders going double tight. Simone Lawrence, you saw just beating the tackle, or excuse me, beating the block of the receiver. Reskison responsible for taking care of that edge.
Nick Arbuckle's in. Will he call his own number? Yes, he will. And he'll score the touchdown. Flag on the far side. Somebody lined up improperly. This is good. This is Arbuckle's 4th
procedure. Calgary
touchdown.
number 23.
It's not good.
It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat second down.
So now they move it back. Will repeat second down, likely a throwing down. Bo will come back out. It's a costly penalty here.
Yeah, you'll see the early movement over on the left side that line. I believe that's the fullback, William Longley. Trying to get a head start on his man.
Oh, that's why that gap was so big. Ear-splitting day here in Hamilton. 2nd and goal. Here comes that blitz. Bo! No!
Had to hurry the throw. Don Unamba had the pressure off the edge on the front side.
The Cats hold here, Dwayne.
Yeah, watch for Unamba off the left side of your screen. Trying to time up that blitz. He's the unblocked man. Mitchell has to accelerate everything. The man in his face can't really step fully into that throw, and it sails on him a little bit.
So a long drive. That penalty by Longley kept 4 points off the board. But the Calgary Stampeders do have their first lead of the ball game. Randy Paredes boots it through. 2-minute offense coming up for Jeremiah Masoli, and an offense that had it going early on with some drives, but stifled now by this Stampeder D. Let's go down to field level where it is steamy. Here's Matthew Shinetti.
Yeah, Rod, here's your weather report. Over the last few minutes, even though the sun has gone behind the west grandstand here, particularly on the Stampeder side, around a half dozen players are on their knees, kind of catching their breath. There's been a lot of towels, a lot of ice supplied by the Stampeders training staff. On the other side with the Ticats, the same thing. A lot of liquids are being consumed down here. It was very, very, very hot to start the game. It's cooled off a little bit, but it's still quite humid down here. Rob?
Big boys will be feeling it. Masoli standing in and connecting on the near sideline.
Well, with the position of the sun right now, the bench areas at least are now in the shade. I think the hottest guys down there might be our panel.
Yeah, it's going to be sweaty and a little stinky down that corner. 2nd and 4. Shadows creeping over that field now. Masoli turns one way, checks down and goes the other. Shad Lawrence checks back in the lineup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats again with that injury to Brandon Banks. One thing about the Cats practice roster, you better be ready week in and week out. Never know when you're going to get the call here.
Well, particularly in that receiving core, you look at the way the injuries have gone all season long.
Draw play, Thomas Erlington. High hurdle. Good first down yardage into Calgary's territory up near the 53.5. It'll be 2nd and short. Minute 40 to go here. Lawrence is in motion. Tasker up there on the right side along with Jones. Solely looking that way. And a little slant right at the first down marker. And that 2nd down guy, Luke Tasker. Moves the sticks once more.
Sean Thomas Erlin can carry the football. Watch what he does in pass protection here. Alex Singleton's coming A-gap. Steps up and stones him, allowing that passing lane for his quarterback.
Put it in the midst of Thomas Erlington. What a block there by Fulbert Lucier. Nice run by Sean Thomas Erlington. Big assist to a number of his teammates here on this ride.
We've got the Polar Darius Sirocco out in front of him. Receivers getting involved. Fulbert Lucier had his man walled off.
Thomas Erlington, the former Vanier Cup champion with Montreal Carabin. In the shadows, another first down. Near Mike Jones, 25-yard line, the former 3rd-round pick of the Cats back in 2016.
You see Thomas Erlington again stepping up to take on the linebacker. Masoli delivers it down that hash mark. James Vaughters is the injured Stampeder. See Junior Turner sitting down, maybe catching his breath as well during this stoppage in play. Stampeders initially on their active roster for this week had 7 defensive linemen. Micah Johnson, we mentioned off the top, a scratch with a hip flexor injury. So 6 dressed, and you know, on a toasty hot day, and you got to remember that, like, the Stampeders joked that it was like coming to Hawaii for them when they stepped off the plane. They had snow in southern Alberta this week, in much of Alberta actually. And so they've come from cold to getting a hot, humid day in southern Ontario. Certainly feeling it. Defensive coordinator, Devon Claybrooks.
You don't get too many days like this in mid-September. People will take it, though, better than the alternative. Masoli, right side. Colbert-Lucier. Clock ticks down to 42 before halftime. A lot of guys who were down on the depth chart a few weeks ago are starting to get a lot of touches because of attrition.
Well, it's that time of the season, you know, and this is why so often, you know, for so many teams, you have that philosophy early in the year when, you know, you've got your active roster, but you've got about another.
And Masoli juking, and will not get the first down. He might want to option it off there, but his number one option usually on those plays isn't in the lineup today. Brandon Banks, he sometimes tosses that out, so it looks like the Stampeder defense bends a little, does not break. They'll give up a field goal attempt, and there is Speedy B. How much has he missed?
Yeah, this is a guy who, since coming into the lineup as a starter when June Jones took over midway through last season, has been the most productive receiver in the Canadian Football League since that time. Cats' passing game as a whole really ignited under June Jones. Luke Tasker and Jalen Saunders had big numbers as well.
Iralahu boots it through right down near where our studio panel is, and the Cats surge in front. Speaking of which, let's go down to Rod Smith.
Thank you, Rod. We got to congratulate Heather Evans of Calgary because she's won groceries for a year thanks to the Safeway Sobeys $1 million touchdown to win promotion because of that kickoff return by Shakir Ryan earlier. So congrats again, Heather. If there's another kickoff return for a touchdown in this game, still get another half, by the way. You can also win $1 million. Good luck with that, Rod.
What do you think Heather's doing right now?
Well,
hey, she's got groceries.
Hopefully she's setting a seat at the table for Mr. Ford.
Yes, here it is. Groceries for a year and possibly $1 million. And the way that guy took that ball back and some of the returners we have in this game today, there is a possibility. That $1 million, it's been sitting there for a long, long time. 2 kickoff returns in the game. Maybe here today. There's a lot of time left. 19-17 the score. The Hall of Fame weekend. We'll continue chatting with Hall of Famers in the second half. Hank Olisics in the hall, in town. Brent Johnson. Everybody enjoying this one today. We've got a classic game going on here. Ball bounces out of bounds.
Good decision by the returner Morris to let that one go. Good read.
Right in front of his Calgary bench, and they were probably yelling at him. Don't touch it.
Hamilton, number 70. It's going to be first down in the 45-yard line.
And you consider now much better opportunity to maybe take that one shot and get into field goal position. That kickoff could prove costly for the Ticats.
Here is a Stampeder team that plays right to that buzzer or gun. No matter the quarter, no matter the half. Saw it last week. They'll need to get it down near the Hamilton 45. It'll have to be quick. One play takes about 8 seconds. Trying to get a completion and trot out Paredes. Mitchell stepping up and going deep over the top, and it is caught. What a catch! He's done it again, Jawan Breskison, who had an outstanding catch in the season opener, has another one here.
Yeah, and what a name this young man has made for himself this season. He's going right down the pipe. You know, you're thinking you're going to look for some sort of high percentage play near the sidelines, try and move it down, you know, maybe around the 40-yard line to try and get an opportunity. But a big shot here for a much higher percentage kick. Massive catch for Juwan Breskus, and he has been terrific this season.
Well, they went from a potential 52-yarder to what is essentially a chippy from the 25 for Paredes. And the Calgary Stampeders show why they have been an invincible team over the last few years in the regular season. They jump in front again. What a wild first half of football. Why not? We're honoring the greats of the game in the Hall of Fame game, and the Stamps lead by 1. Here's Rod.
All right, Rod, back with Henry and Maddie and Milt. What a first half. I mean, I always say about football, it's a game of offense, of defense, of special teams. I would say for the most. Look at the halftime numbers with Calgary leading. Here's a stat for you. There have been 4 touchdowns. Only one of them scored on offense. 2 in special teams, 1 on defense. Here's Matthew Shinetti with Dave Dickinson.
Dave, your offense to be able to come back in this game, where do you think they are right now?
We're battling. We're actually playing bad football, to be honest with you. But we're battling, but that doesn't mean we're going to execute. So they're doing basically a bunch of different stuff, nothing we've seen on film. We're trying to adjust on the sideline, hopefully do a good job at half.
Behind you, Davaris Daniels has ice in his right shoulder. Some of your players were dealing with the heat. Where are they right now? What's going on with Daniels and the players dealing with the conditions?
Yeah, it doesn't look good for Davaris, but hey, they're in the same boat. We'll deal with the heat. We'll come out.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Late big play by Calgary to set up a field goal by Rene Paredes to make it 2019. Interesting football game, the Hall of Fame game. Second half kickoff coming up on TSN.
Welcome back to Tim Hortons Field, home of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And of course, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who trail the Calgary Stampeders 2019. Points piling up, bodies going down. Here's Matthew Shinetti with head coach June Jones.
June, I'm sure you didn't want me to be asking you about your more injuries, but can you give us a status on Alex Green?
Well, he's going to try to go the second half, but I don't know how long he'll be able to go.
In terms of the offense, what has to be? This is going to be a tough game. They were able to push back and get the lead by halftime. What exactly do you need to see from your guys in the second half?
Well, we need to do just what we're doing and not turn the ball over. We knew it was going to be one of those games. We're kind of trying to stay even with them and win it at the end.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Well, head coach June Jones, like Dave Dickinson, same thing. Injuries piling up here. Looks like we could be in for a dramatic one in the second half. Topsy-turvy, back and forth in the first half, and that's not a good sign. Davaris Daniels with what appears to be a shoulder or arm injury. Being disconsolate on the sideline. He's out for the ball game. Stamps will get the ball first. Ramar Morris, that Terry Williams bringing it up, and there's Ramar Morris coming out with the offense, and Bo Levi Mitchell. 11 of 18, Dwayne.
Yeah, his numbers for the first half, 1 touchdown, that 1 interception, a costly one as it was returned for a touchdown by Larry Dean. Adding to those yardage numbers with that big completion to Juwan Breskus, though, to set up that late field goal and the half.
Doesn't matter whether he's ahead or behind. Bo Levi Mitchell, always the epitome of cool. 67 yards away from passing his head coach, Dave Dickinson, on the all-time CFL list. Morris is run down. Mike Daly on the blitz, and Don Unamba. Talked about Jameer Thurman earlier being one of the more underrated linebackers in the league. I would put this guy in the same category, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Don Unumba's been a great find for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. A guy who's bounced around the Canadian Football League a little bit, spent some time in Winnipeg, spent a little bit of time in Saskatchewan, had a look in Montreal. But really has kind of found a home here with the Tiger Cats, and certainly at that nickel linebacker position. He's been a great fit for Jerry Glanville.
Put up some really good numbers this year. It's second down. Out of the backfield, they set up the screen for Morris, and short of a first down. Looks like Stampeders will have to kick. will be 3rd and 2 yards. So Rob Maver coming out here and a very quick 2-and-out to begin the second half, the third quarter. 32 of the 39 points scored in the ball game, all scored in the second quarter. 3 touchdowns in the span of 2:54. Electric second quarter here, and we'll see how it plays out in the third. Again, off the side of the foot, but it will bounce. And a good starting point for the Hamilton Tiger Cats near their 40-yard line.
Yeah, not at all what Maver was looking for on the punt, but he was fortunate, as you alluded to, Rod, to get that one on the ground, that it didn't sail out of bounds in between the 20-yard lines, which would have cost him a chunky yardage on the penalty.
Jeremiah Masoli, the 2 picks in that first half. 109 yards. Looking for his 10th 300-yard game. A long way to go for that. Not had any really big plays offensively. Lead option, Masoli throwing it up and throwing it away. Had everybody fooled there for a moment, then they finally realized Masoli's got it.
Yeah, he seemed to bobble it a little bit coming off the run fake. And it, by the way, it is Sean Thomas Erlington in the backfield to start this second half. We'll see off play action. Almost looked like Masoli bobbled it a little bit, but maybe just carrying it down low. A good decision for the quarterback to go for the throwaway. Remember, he forced one earlier in the game that resulted in a pick.
They blitz him again, and he goes over the top. Nobody home, not even close. So after all of that electricity offensively, and with the special teams and defense in the second quarter, we begin the third quarter, the second half, with 2 2-and-outs.
Well, keep an eye on Jagarrett Davis coming around from the backside. See if he may have caught Masoli a little bit on the elbow there with a swipe that may have impacted the trajectory of that ball. Iralahu.
Shadow completely over this side of the field. Markin Michel is going to return some kicks. What a cut! Michel brought out of bounds near the 38-yard line. It is Hall of Fame weekend, and there's one of the great kickers in CFL history. Hank Alisic will be with Matthew Shinetti when we come back to Hamilton after this.
They're in return.
From a 17-year-old high school player to a CFL All-Star to a Grey Cup champion to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, the path of Hank Alisic, who is with Matthew Shinetti.
You know, Hank, we were talking about everything you've achieved, but I want to go back to the beginning and getting your kicking boots from your future teammate at that time, Dave Cutler. Take us through that story and why it was so important to you.
Actually, it's a funny story. He told me to get off the field and go to the Army Navy store. So what I did was I went to talk to Dwayne Mandrusiak, and he actually got a kicking shoe for me. That's how that started. It was pretty funny. It was a lot of fun.
In terms of your bust, we were actually talking about it off camera. You might have the most epic, glorious bust that a punter has ever been gifted in the Hall of Fame. And last night you kind of compared it to a certain superhero.
I look like Wolverine, I tell you. Talk about intimidating or not. That's pretty good for a punter. It's pretty scary.
And everything you've achieved, who do you think about when you're given such an honor?
There's so many names and players I've played with, but I'd have to say the Creator, God. If it wasn't for him, we all wouldn't be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank. Appreciate this. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the greatest punters of all time, Hall of Famer Markin Michel, and is down, and looks like he is nicked up too.
Yeah, he took a pretty good shot there as he went down.
They may not have enough players to finish this game the way it's going. Markin Michel is down now. Don Unumba in on the play.
Yeah, you'll see he gets bounced late as he's down, takes that shot to the back of the head and neck.
Wow. That is not good. And Michel in considerable pain. We will step aside from Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton.
I quick, this is not lit. I'm saying we're not lit. Expose my lack of knowledge of those lyrics.
You can't run with me. You ain't running with me. Check the stats.
Why you let him call that? Why you let your coach throw that? It's real funny, ain't it? Hey, it's funny that y'all got that call, huh?
Above the microphone, CFL Wire, Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Catch up on week 14. Nick Arbuckle trying to make his way, and he fumbled the football, and it is picked up, and this could go, and will go. Delvin Breaux, touchdown. And a strange game just got a whole lot stranger.
Hey, 3rd and 1, what could go wrong?
Boom. Delvin Breaux. Nick Arbuckle, 3rd and 1. Looks like he had it.
Well,
didn't have the football though.
And Don Unumba
again
with the rip, pulls the ball out. Couple of nice blocks here. Here's Unumba and ISO. Watch him with the right arm here. Rip. Point, gets a hand on the point of that ball to pluck it loose. Delvin Breaux with the scoop and score. Well, the trend continues in this ball game. No offensive touchdowns for the Ticats, yet they lead 25-20.
I know it's the daytime. Is this the time? Is it full moon time?
The touchdown is confirmed.
It's been an absolute wild one. Cats lining up for the deuce, the 2-point convert.
Yep, playing for that 7-point lead.
2 for 5 on the season. Masoli has lots of time here. Looking. Now he's getting chased down. And Masoli will chuck it away, and nobody was home.
Yeah, all kinds of time, nowhere to go with the ball.
We have had touchdowns scored in every way imaginable today.
Well, except offense for the
Exactly.
Ticats. Here we'll take a look at that 2-point play. Masoli with lots of time, pretty good protection. But things were covered up, and it looked to me on the scramble like there wasn't a lot of movement from the receivers as he kind of got hemmed into a corner. Now here's a look. Watch Don Unumba is on the left side of your screen, just coming off the edge. He's going to rip with his right arm, gets that right arm free. And he's blocked on the play. He's got someone blocking him. But able to keep the upper body free, get the right arm free to pull that ball loose. Delvin Breaux returns that fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Delvin Breaux, who returned to the CFL, spending a couple of seasons down south in the National Football League, returns a fumble for a touchdown. Stand by for more adventure here. Terry Williams up near the 30-yard line. Back and forth. Hamilton defense been on the field a lot. He scored on a pick 6 with Larry Dean to start the ball game, and since that time we have had a tornado of turnovers.
I'll tell you, with Hamilton touchdowns coming from Larry Dean, Delvin Breaux, and Shakir Ryan, I don't know if anybody's getting a lot of fantasy points.
I don't know, I'm not sure. Fantasy nightmare this week. Bo Levi Mitchell, that
Don
was tipped.
Unumba again.
Don Unumba. And again, some extracurriculars.
Free man off the edge, gets his hands up in that passing lane. Score the deflection.
Southern Arkansas star. Road less traveled to the Canadian Football League. Variety of different leagues. It's been good today. They rush 3, drop 9. Bo lets it go, has Michel, and knocked away. Cariel Brooks came over to alter that, but Markin Michel was wide open on the sideline.
Yeah, long throw, little bit underthrown as Michel had to wait for it just a bit on the sidelines. That allows Brooks to close. Brooks doesn't touch the football, but provides enough of a distraction to prevent Michel from making the play.
5-point ball game. Shakir Ryan sliced downfield. Cariel Brooks in on the play, but Markin Michel normally comes up with ease. That kind of day. Crazy one here. The Hall of Fame game in Hamilton 2018 rolls on.
This is Stamps Football, and Stamps Football is whatever it takes. Get your tickets today at Stampeders.com.
Back at Tim Hortons Field. Great day for football. Great day for the Hall of Fame, and good news for the Cats. Alex Green back in the backfield. It's back in the game, gets a first touch, and has some room. Has what looks like a first down.
Alex Green returning just in time to get the carry here. Masoli reading it, decides to go with the handoff.
The last minute.
Not sure he was completely sold on that handoff. Alex Green makes the most of it. 10-yard pickup.
Green Bay Packer draft pick. The Pack and the Jets. Soli pumps and then throws it away. And one thing that has been a constant is the pressure. There is a flag down late. And Mike Rose, amongst others, in on Jeremiah Masoli very quickly. Harass him to throw that football away.
There is no penalty for intentional grounding. Number 17 was in the area. It's second down.
Keep an eye on Mike Rose, who gets the start in place of Micah Johnson today. Doing his best Micah Johnson impression, supplying a little bit of pressure here. He came late. That's where Alex Green, the back, kind of got caught in no man's land trying to decide who he should take, as both Singleton and Rose popped free at the same time.
2nd and 10 for the Cats from their 39-yard line. Throwing a dart is Masoli up near the 50, and it's a first down. And again, Terrence Tolliver trying to create some chemistry with Tolliver right now. One of the tallest receivers in the Canadian Football League, 6 feet 5 inches.
Yeah, by far the biggest of the Ticat receivers. He's the most targeted Ticat receiver in the first half of this football game, but he and Masoli had some trouble connecting, targeted 5 times. Only 2 receptions in the first half, whereas Masoli was 11 of 13 in targeting his other receivers.
Stamps show that they're gonna rush 3. They show it, but then they blitz again. Masoli's in trouble, and down he goes. A second sack, and an easy one for Junior Turner. Just had to tag Masoli. He was buried back at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, Masoli knew he was surrounded and just decided to cut his losses there. Junior Turner, the Bishop's product, lined up right on the center. You're going to see the pressure comes. They do a nice job of containing things. Masoli's got nowhere to go. He's just going to hit the dirt. Junior Turner credited with the sack.
2nd and long. Rushing 4. Masoli stepping up. Pitches it out, and again,
dangerous throwaway.
Dangerous. Alex Singleton, there was not one receiver there. And Jagera Davis had him in his grasp.
And here Masoli's just trying to preserve the yardage. Jared Davis is going to come from the left side, looping inside. Risky throwaway. The ball gets across the line of scrimmage.
Low kick. And finding his way out, and goodbye. Goodbye. Terry Williams all the way to the house. Touchdown. Another explosive play in this ball game from the special teams, and Terry Williams.
Well, part of what gets the Tiger Cats in trouble here is on the short kick. Liram Hairolahu runs up, see where the bounce is going to go to see if he might have a chance to recover it. He gets caught up in the fray where normally he'd at least be hanging back to kind of delay Terry Williams, try and force him inside to where he's got some help from other tacklers. But because he ran up in tight, trying to recover that short kick, there was no one in position to do that. Much like Shakir Ryan's return, no one behind once he breaks that first wave, and Terry Williams comes up with a big special teams play for the Stampeders.
Third punt return touchdown of the season, has to be seriously considered as an outstanding special teams player of the year so far. Terry Williams, as the Stamps go for 2, 5 of 8 on the season, and not this time. Stamps surge in front once more. And another way to score a touchdown in this one. A punt return touchdown from Terry Williams. 83 yards to daylight in the Hall of Fame game. Another member of the class of 2018 officially inducted last night, former star from the X. First Canadian player to rush for over 1,000 yards, once had 8 touchdowns in a single game. Did the other team even show up? For Paul Brule. Here's Matthew Shinetti.
Absolutely, Rod. He has his X ring. He's wearing his X golf shirt as well. Paul, congratulations. When you take a look at the importance of university football in this country, as you are having your success, what do you hope your legacy in university football will be?
Well, if I look back on coming out of high school, I wasn't a superstar by any means, but I went to a school with a great history in football. Small town, it was the game in town, and fabulous coaching, and that's really how I moved along.
One thing that Rod Black was just saying is you had a 8-touchdown game, but is there a moment beyond that game or that game itself that you're thinking about when you're inducted?
Yeah, I think about the year we won the Vanier Cup. We were the Upper Canada newspapers called us the weak sisters from the East and didn't deserve to be there, but with the score 40-12 in our favor later, the weak sisters did good.
And can you remember all 8 of those touchdowns in that infamous game?
I can remember quite a few, yeah. It was actually a mucky day, and but I had a tremendous team in front of me. And it's funny, the team that we were playing, Dalhousie University, had beaten the number 2 team in the conference at that time the week before, and they were labeled the Giant Killers. And they had us 20-7 in the first quarter, and we came back, and the final score was 105-20.
Congratulations! Thank you for this, Paul.
My pleasure. Great to be here.
Congratulations, Mr. Brule. 105-28 touchdowns. It is the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. It's not the CFL Hall of Fame. What I love, and I know you did last night, is you so outstandingly emceed the event.
Calgary number 11. It's a spot foul, automatic first down.
So first down, Hamilton, is the references to the Vanier Cup and how much high school and university football and amateur football played into the lives of all of the inductees.
Yeah, no doubt. Even those guys getting into the hall based on their professional careers certainly made reference to their college coaches, high school coaches, people that paved the way.
So a little screen now, Alex Green. And before that, might have thought that Jeremiah Masoli might try to set up the screen. So was having a lot of heat on him over the last little while.
Yeah, keep an eye here on the middle linebacker, Alex Singleton. trying to get there. Nice block initially from Luke Tasker, but the motor of Alex Singleton keeps on chugging as he gets in there to make yet another tackle.
2nd down and 3 for Jeremiah. Slinging it. Luke Tasker can't hang on. One of the rare ones that Tasker isn't able to secure.
Yeah, tremendous defensive play there from the nickel linebacker, Jamar Wall. Stuck like glue to Luke Tasker on that play. Well-timed leap, score the knockdown.
One-point ball game. Hairolahu. Boot this. Back to Mark and Michel, and Mario Cooper downfield blows him down. Good to see Mark and Michel back in the ball game, but he takes another lick.
He may be regretting coming back quite so soon.
Been like a piñata in this game.
Let's see how well timed that is. Right around that 5 yards was Cooper. Just as Michel caught that, hitting it on the run, he really didn't break stride at all.
And it again pins the Calgary Stampeders. Cooper out of the Citadel. Tight end set. They'll play action once more. Mitchell gunning deep once more. And Bagleton has it again. Richie Bagleton, see you later. Touchdown. Is there anything that this guy can't catch?
You can see that Bo Levi Mitchell had plenty of time to let this one develop. You can see that Bagleton had a step on the free safety, Mike Daly, down the middle of the field. Just watch Bo load this one up and let her rip. Bagleton has to hold up, but he kind of boxes Daly out on the play, goes up and gets it. Nice job to keep his balance coming down. Take it in for the major. Challenge flag is down from Hamilton.
June Jones is calling Ben Major over. Using his one challenge flag that you have in the ball game. They may be challenging some interference, offensive interference downfield, and this might be a stretch. We'll see.
Hamilton is challenging that there was a legal block downfield against their number 11 on the previous play. The play will be reviewed.
Challenging a block. How about the day by Bagleton? And again, all of these receivers filling in so adequately for guys who are out of the lineup, like Kamar Jordan and Eric Rogers and now DeVaris Daniels, and Bo Levi Mitchell just keeps chucking and chucking. And they keep catching and catching. CFL Command is looking at this. What do you see, Dwayne?
Well, they're suggesting that there was an illegal block on Larry Dean. Keep an eye here. I mean, it's, the fact is, I think it's somewhat inconsequential to the play. I'm not really convinced of where this one's going to go. Was it a hold? Probably, but I don't really think we're going to see this overturned.
How about what Bagleton has done, what Breskison has done? Big plays from the Calgary Stampeders.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. There's no penalty. The touchdown stands. Hamilton is charged with a timeout.
Might have been fishing there, but 3.5 to go in the third quarter. Calgary opens up its biggest lead. Reggie Begelton, 4 catches, 147, and the touchdown. Former Lamar University Cardinal. He also played in week 1 in the first meeting against the Cats. A couple of big catches. We'll go for 2 again. Make it a 2-possession ball game. Over the top, easily done. Begelton again. So the big play, Calgary Stampeders turn on the horsepower here late in the third quarter.
And a big 2-point convert to turn it into a 2-possession football game. So a big stretch for Reggie Begelton. Here's a look. The most recent catch for the 2-point convert. Through the uprights and into his hands. Here's the previous play. Begelton is going to come out of the slot. You're going to see the halfback, Richard Leonard, goes to take the outside receiver deep. So Michael Daly ends up picking up Begelton deep. Begelton gets a step on him. Daly just can't make up that ground. Ball dropped in perfectly just over the free safety by Bo Levi Mitchell.
And it's just not what Bo Levi Mitchell, the way he delivers the football. It's also the way these guys go up and get it.
Yeah.
Between Begelton and Reskison, highlight reel catches today. Bo Levi Mitchell continues to rewrite the record book. Shakir Ryan dropped at the 25. An ascension like no other really in CFL history, and already look at what he has done. Hank, who is in the end zone with our panel, he's coming after you.
He's
now
got
past Doug Flutie.
Got Masoli chasing him for the 300-yard games in the Hamilton record books. He's got Mitchell chasing him in the Calgary record books for touchdown passes. Hank is under siege down there.
He's got Milton, Matt, Rod beside him.
I don't think those guys are going to be a lot of help.
No. Going after Burris today. Why not? Future Hall of Famer put up unbelievable numbers. Tasker trying to get an offense unglued here. Hall of Fame game. Biggest lead for the Stamps right now. And Bo Levi Mitchell just passed his coach.
Yeah, with today's yardage. Last pass put him ahead of Dave Dickinson on the career passing yardage.
He's passing all his bosses. Danny Barrett, you're next. Another blitz. Soli really feeling the heat here in this third quarter. Almost every play has been hurried. Any success they've had is setting up sort of a bubble screen. Nothing there that time. So it's third down once more.
Yeah, the Stampeder defense has turned it up in the second half. Vaughn Claybrooks perhaps spotting an opportunity.
Mark and Michelle back near his 30. Hairolahu launching near his 25. Not much sunlight in the stadium anymore. To the far side. 34-25. The score in this long losing streak. 13 straight against the Calgary Stampeders. We asked June Jones about that drought yesterday.
We asked that question. Nobody raised their hand in the locker room. Now, I might be wrong. Somebody might in the back down, but I was looking when they said it, and nobody's beaten Calgary. You know, on top of that, they got beat before I got here 70 to something, and you know, Calgary's been the team that has been the thorn, obviously, in everybody's side, not just ours.
Well, they have been a powerhouse indeed. Issue with the Stamps has been trying to finish off the season in the Grey Cup game the last couple of seasons, but chance to pick up Their 10th win, still a quarter to play here. But
Offside, Hamilton, number 49. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat first down.
when they lead after 3 quarters, they have been indomitable this season.
Calgary 8-0 under those circumstances. The ultimate closers.
Numbers in the fourth quarter say it all too when they're down plus 52 fourth quarter as they get close to it here. Oh, Levi Mitchell licking his lips again. Another pump and another go and over the top jump ball, high point. Calvin Bro couldn't pick up the leftovers. One that got away from Begelton.
Oh, the Calgary Stampeders. That pass aside, certainly aren't really missing a beat. Reggie Begelton in that lineup. He's on the left side of your screen. Taking to the corner, going to the post to get open. Ball just hung up there a little bit, which allowed Richard Leonard time to recover and make a play on the football.
Second and 5. They'll give it to Morris, and he's got some daylight. And Romar Morris went for a rip last week. This time, 20-yard gain, another first down into Hamilton territory.
Well blocked play. Keep an eye on the work of the left tackle, Derek Dennis, number 63. Gonna run behind the big boy. Big kick out right there. Terrific lane for Romar Morris. Get across midfield.
Stamps, a lot of momentum here. Could be the final play of the third quarter. And Morris again. There he goes, Romar Morris. They are going to be having a very difficult time getting him out of the lineup when Don Jackson gets healthy. Morris has been sensational back-to-back weeks. We head to the fourth quarter. Much more to come. We'll talk with Brent Johnson. Hall of Fame weekend and our own Hall of Famers. There's Matty D and Milt Stiegel. First time without a nice looking suit. Hall of Fame weekend continues. Another member of the Super 7 going into the class of 2018, maybe the class of the class. 2-time most outstanding Canadian, most outstanding defensive player. Number 97, former BC Lion, Grey Cup champion Brent Johnson, who's in his Hall of Fame jacket, joining us now. We were talking about all those numbers. You looked at the picture.
Yeah, I just wanted to look at the picture. I said, holy cow, man, I can't believe I was that big back then. But yeah, no, it's, you know, it's this whole weekend, this whole week, it's been kind of surreal. And I think once I got the call from Mark DeNoble from the Canadian Football Hall of Fame last February, I was driving home from work and almost went off the road. I couldn't, you know, I don't know. I never thought about this happening, going to the Hall of Fame, but you know, happening this soon too. It's surreal, but phenomenal. I've been having a great time.
Well, you talked about so many people in your speech last night who contributed to your success and putting you in a position to succeed. What did it mean to you to have so many of those people able to share the moment with you?
Yeah, you know, for me, last night, and I think for all the inductees. At least on the player side, this is you don't get a storybook ending like this for a lot of careers, right? And I feel lucky, a lot of gratitude to be going in with the group that I went in with, but also just, you know, you get to say the thank yous that you publicly don't get to see or say to a lot of the people that had so much to do with your success. I mean, last night, I mean, almost all the guys, in fact, all the guys talked about their families and past coaches and just those little times that, you know, cascaded and compounded into the people they were and the players they became. And to me, that really tells the story. It's all those little bits of help, and they asked for help along the way. And look at them now, right? Look at us now. Yeah.
Stamps coming out to kick a field goal. You can say it now because you're not playing anymore. Of all of the guys you played against, you were such a great pass rusher. Who was the guy that you kind of really hated playing against?
The list is long. I got to see a guy, Dave Mudge, last night. Was there. He was there for support Scott Flory. He was a pain in the butt every time. Okeke, he was. That was a full 4-quarter wrestling match with literally a lion. It was. It was a lot of work. So, but there's plenty of guys, man. Plenty of guys. Yeah.
You carved your career, down south playing NCAA ball, but when everybody talks about Brent Johnson, they always have the maple leaf beside you. How special is it to go into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, to do all of the things, to play a position and do the things that not a lot of national players did?
Yeah, well, there was guys that came before me, obviously, and they set the bar. I always say this, I just tried to live to the expectation that they'd put in front of me. A good example of that, a guy, Nick Hebler, that played defensive end for BC for a long time. There's plenty of guys that just set that standard. My job is to go live up to that standard or surpass it or create a new standard, right? And that's what you do. You carry those people on your back when you go out there. And to me, as a player, that was really important. It was living up to those expectations of the coach and of my teammates, and also, you're right, that flag on your back that you're going to go out there and play what they call an American position. Well, if you're Canadian and you're doing it, you have to do it better. I felt that was on me to do.
You played with a lot of great teammates, obviously, during your time with the BC Lions. I want to ask you about them as a group, but about one in particular. Now, the guy who's down on the sidelines for the red and white, you won a Grey Cup with guy. Dave Dickinson.
Yeah, I did.
Look at this footage coming up here.
I remember that guy. Yeah. There he is. Yeah. I think that's Murph behind. I don't know who's. Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I remember that. They had all the plastic over every. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. That was early in the night, actually. Yeah. But no, it's pretty impressive to see what Dave has done in Calgary. And, well, look, it was a no-brainer. Dave Dickinson, the quarterback I knew, the strategist that he's become and the coach he's become, it just goes in hand with his trajectory, I guess, you could say, after retirement. I'm just phenomenally proud of him. I got to see him the other day. I still think for a coach, the player should get on him. He's got too many late meetings on a game night before a game. He should be able to let his players have some fun, but
Well, you guys had some fantastic defenses on those teams that certainly some other guys from that unit will be joining you in the Hall of Fame, I would think, at some point. Yeah. Obviously a team game, but is there anybody that sort of stands out for you from some of those defensive teammates of that era?
So many guys. I mean, look, the guys I got to play with on the D-line, Tyrone Williams, the Cameron Wakes, Chris Wilson, Aaron Hunt. Those were my teammates, my friends, my brothers that we would go out and battle their teams with. The linebackers, Carl Kidd, Javi Glatt, Otis Floyd, Baron Miles, who was inducted last night. I was just so proud to be able to even stand on the same stage as a guy like that. Flattered to even get the opportunity to play with him. Dante Marshes, Corey Banks. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of the talent.
You guys might need your own wing.
I'm putting in a vote for it. I think I have. I don't know if I have a vote now, but if I can, I want our own little BC Lions defense section.
And of course, being around Wally, this is his last year. They say in the CFL. What did Wally Buono mean to you?
Wally was huge. I brought this up last night. He was the first coach that, like we were saying earlier, that didn't care where your passport was from or where. To him, the best players are going to play and they're going on the field. To me, that was a refreshing statement, refreshing mindset at a time when I think I needed it, because I don't know if I would have had the opportunity to play defensive end in the CFL. It might have been switched to a nose tackle. I might have become something else, morphed into something else. And my talent skill, and there's nothing wrong with that, but my talent skill coming out of university was to play defensive end. That's what I knew how to do. That was my skill set. And he said, yeah, well, if that's what you can do, show me what you can do. And there you go. So very fortunate. 2nd
and 4 here for the Cats in the Hall of Fame game. Down 12 right now, fourth quarter. Soley, slant pattern to Luke Tasker. So, you know, it's about football, but, you know, the game also got you a great education.
Phenomenal, yeah.
And now you've taken that into the workforce. What kind of message is that to a lot of the young players out there?
Well, I say that football is it's the one thing where you need, if you want to play at the highest levels, no matter what level you're moving up to, except literally pros, you need education on your side, right? Yes, there are great junior programs and things like that, and I'm not dismissing those, but you know, football goes hand in hand, believe it or not. You know, it gets its knocks and all those things, but education, these guys are processing a lot of information very quickly. And, you know, you got to have a head on your shoulders to do that. And education, going to school, yeah, it can be great.
Offside.
Some people pay for you get your degree and they pay for it. Some guys work their butts off and get a degree, and no one's paying for it, but they want to play football. That's how passionate they are about it. But one thing with football is you're going to need to go to school, and you're going to have to do it, and you're going to have to take that route.
Well, I also wanted to ask you a little bit about your high school coaches. You know, I know, always feel those guys don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
You know, kind of get forgotten about by the time players get to this level. But you had a nice message about your high school coach yesterday.
I did. Well, I was very lucky. Going to high school in Kingston, Ontario, at Holy Cross, I had just a phenomenal level of dedication and people that sacrificed their own time. They weren't getting paid, you know, to coach us and take extra time, and it was at the sacrifice of their own families and that type of thing. So you had a lot of teachers that took their own time to. I couldn't even play this game. Like in grade 9, I didn't even know how to play this game. No,
really?
And they taught me it, and they showed me how to play this game. And you know, a gentleman that was here tonight last night, Rob Ball, was a big influence on my life. He was the guy that said, look, you can play this game, and it can use you, or you can use it to get what you want out of it. And at the time, it was an education, and I did that, and it was monumental in my life for just having a perspective of what this game can bring to you.
Yeah. For this guy who didn't even know how to play the game at that time, you're in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame part.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You deserve everything you get.
Very well earned.
Appreciate it.
Great
Thank
career.
you. Thank you.
Brent Johnson. A timeout on the field. Used to do a lot of this. Big guy. Still big. In the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Get into Canada's #1 drama, The Good Doctor, streaming Monday, September 24th on CTV. The Good Doctor is also starring in today's game because they needed a lot of help on the athletic therapist table. Brandon Smith, latest casualty out there. We'll try to get an update. Masoli, jump ball, looking for Terrence Tolliver. Saw that fan talking about Pigskin Pete. This is the first time in a long time there is no Pigskin Pete at the game. And earlier today, filling in, Pigskin Bob, Caretaker Bob, the owner of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, doing the traditional Oski Wee Wee chant that is normally reserved for Pigskin Pete, who stepped aside earlier this week. I think Tom Hanks also stepped in at one time.
Oh, maybe Tom could audition for the role on a full-time basis.
I don't think he's very good at auditions. Masoli dishes it out here, and breaking a tackle is Rashad Lawrence, the big catch. Really, you look at the clock and the way it's going. Every time Calgary's got the football, it seems they've been able to go down and put points on the board. Incumbent on the Cats to get some points here.
And Rashad Lawrence certainly knows it, the way he fights for those first down yards on this play. Shakes off the tackle of the free safety, Adeleke. Splits the other two defenders to pick up a couple of extra yards. So we've got first down Ticats. The Stampeder 27-yard line.
Their 10th play, Dwayne. Longest drive of the day. Read option again. They'll give it to Green. It's going to set up another throwing down. And where will they go to this time? And he moves that pile. They might give him progress.
Yeah, some valuable yards picked up after contact on that play for Alex Green and the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
He went from a 1-yard gain to a 5-yard gain.
Your initial contact just beyond the line of scrimmage. He keeps pushing. Some of the big boys get in behind him. See Brandon Revenberg there among others.
5-minute drive, long drive. Yes, the Cats are trailing, but they're keeping Bo Levi Mitchell off the field here too. They need to score though. Masoli, end zone, and nobody home, but there is a flag down. In fact, 2 flags down, and likely an interference or contact call here. Lawrence was cut off from that route.
When the ball went up, I believe it was Emmanuel Davis in coverage in the flat on Lawrence.
Pass interference, Calgary number 8. That's a spot foul and automatic first down.
Davis, who had an interception earlier.
Now you're going to see Lawrence here, and he reaches a point where he tries to turn it sort of up and in. And when he tries to go north, Davis reaches out, grabs him, impedes him a little bit. Thus the flag. 2 flags down on the play, so both officials seeing the same thing.
First and goal. Green. Chopped down, and it's Emmanuel Davis. Redemption.
Yeah, big tackle and run support there from the Stampeder halfback. Keep an eye here on the left side of your screen. So you'll see number 8 magically appear to make the play. Coming downhill all the way.
Midway through the 4th, loads of time left, but this is a huge play here, offensively and defensively. 2nd and goal. And it's Masoli calling his own number, but they track him perfectly. James Vaughters said no way.
Big defensive plays. 3rd down.
They might think about staying on, but they're going to bring out the field goal unit. Crowd doesn't like this call. 12-point game. Successful field goal makes it 9. How about that defensive play by James Vaughters? Clock chewing drive kept the Stamps off the field, but they're
it ends up kind of working against them.
Yes.
To come away with the field goal, which still leaves it as a 2-possession football game.
I wonder if they like those last 2 play calls back. The hand off to Green and then Masoli keeping. 9-point ball game here at the Hall of Fame game in the Hammer. Last but not least of our class of 2018, Tommy Hugo, inducted posthumously last night, 12-time All-Star. Played on both sides of the ball. And with Hawaiian and Polynesian roots, Tommy Hugo, a member of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Here's Matthew Shinetti.
Well, Tommy Hugo was represented in the induction last night by his son Todd. Gave a terrific speech talking about his dad, talked about his dad's humility. That he didn't know a lot of his dad's accomplishments, didn't even realize until talking to former teammates that his dad had played both ways and was terrific at it. An all-star every year at center. And then you realize not only was he just a fantastic center, but a guy who as a linebacker had 25 career interceptions.
And his son last night, the induction speech, some of the footage from the Leatherhead days, and then finally got to the helmet days. The first Hawaiian-born players to ever play professional football. Bo Levi Mitchell escapes. Big run here for Bo. Something he did not do much of last year, but does this year. Bo Levi Mitchell scampers out for a huge first down.
Well, we talk all the time about Bo Levi Mitchell's win-loss record, and you do what you have to do to win football games. He's a guy who's not going to run very often. But when the need arises, comes up with a big play for his team using his legs.
Calgary Stampeder team that's been put together offensively with duct tape today and still dominant. Handing it up the middle to Morris. Unumba is plowed over. Team that's missing receivers and has a new center in his first game.
Yeah, this is the previous play. Nila Kazatati out of the University of Oklahoma. Nice job staying with Simone Lawrence. Pushes it past the pocket to allow Mitchell to step up on that run. Had a nice block on Ted Laurent on that last run as well.
Kazatati gone viral. Can sing too. Second down, short yardage. Arbuckle fights for that. Kazatati of American Samoa descent, like Jeremiah Masoli. Chad Owens, of Polynesian descent, Hawaiian. And of course, June Jones, who, since he's started to coach in Hawaii, is really. There's Chad. See him in the next couple of weeks, the fly-in Hawaiian. And
Junior with him.
Always wears those puka shells. Basically, the king of the Hawaiian Islands for football. June Jones has helped promote the sport there. So the Stamps ticking the clock down here to the 3-minute warning. June Jones wanting to take that timeout several times before that 3-minute warning.
Timeout, Hamilton.
The time they used up on that last drive might be the ultimate killer, though. Inability to get it into the end zone.
Well, a little bit surprised by the timing of the timeout from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. As often you'll see teams use a timeout shortly before the 3-minute warning because you lose it. If you've got both your timeouts, teams will often use one to stop the clock if they're trailing. Hamilton lost a timeout because they lost a challenge earlier. So this could be an interesting last couple minutes for the Tiger Cats.
2nd and 9. And Breskison surges forward for another first down.
A well-executed hitch screen here. Watch the lane open up. Breskison lines up as the number 3 receiver. The rest of the guys out there will set up the blocks. Nice job by Richard Sindani. Reggie Begelton to create a lane. Number 82 to pick up that first down. Allow the Stampeders to continue to control the ball and, quite frankly, the clock.
Last play before the warning. One more score here might seal it for the Stamps. Continue their domination over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Just have not been able to get going in the second half, the Cats, but the Stamps have been riding high. Hall of Fame weekend honoring the greats of the game. Being one of the greatest of all time, Doug Flutie in this hall here at Tim Hortons Field, and Alan Pitts, one of the greatest pass catchers. NFL on TSN continues. In Ottawa. Fans hanging in here at Hamilton, hoping for sign of life here from the Cats late. They have some big comeback in store. Omar Morris again.
Well, for the Tiger Cats to come back, they're going to have to get their hands on the football, and the Stampeders show no signs of giving that up without scoring points. Terrific drive put together by the West Division leaders here. Running down the clock.
Inside the 15-yard line. First half with tons of turnovers. Variety of scoring plays. I formation. Morris behind him, and now it looks like they're taking a timeout.
Calgary.
2:03 to go. Some clock management here, and Dave Dickinson, just like Bo Levi Mitchell. I think he threw for an extraordinary percentage during his career. He's got an extraordinary winning percentage as head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, like Bo Levi Mitchell.
And Dave has been a winner wherever he's been. University of Montana, Canadian Football League as a player, and certainly, as you mentioned, now as a coach.
Speaking of Hall of Fames, goes into the College Football Hall of Fame in December. Great time with the Montana Grizzlies. And in with some legends. Gonna wrap up another W here. Something the Stamps don't do very often at all. Lose back-to-back games. They came in with a chip on their shoulder pad this week. 9th play of the drive. And Morris again, Mike Daly wraps him up. Cats are going to have to get the ball back. Limit this to at least a field goal, and then pull out everything. Final 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, very obviously it is a long shot for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at this point, but truly does, any hope does hinge on getting a stop here.
Morris again bashes down to the 5.
He's going to be close.
And it'll be close to a first down. They get the first down here. They can basically run it in. They're on the threshold of another score.
At 3rd and 1 on this part of the field, if he doesn't get the first down, you're going to go for it.
Arbuckle comes back out. Keep in mind, he did fumble earlier. Talked about the Stampeders being the ultimate closers and finishers. Last week they had to come from behind, down 20, and almost pulled it out against the Eskimos. Need that this week. 3rd and inches. Arbuckle. Be game, set, and match shortly. Larry Dean and Arbuckle at each other, and now we've got a brawl. Adrian Tracy's into it.
Well,
it's been an angry ball game.
Yeah, Stampeders didn't like the way that Dean threw Arbuckle to the turf at the end of the play, and I do suspect there's some frustration setting in there for the Hamilton defense. And the Stampeders, of course, reacted to protect their quarterback.
Stamps have the bye next week. Meet up with Toronto in 2 weeks. Hamilton off to BC next week.
The result of the play, the first down. After that, major foul, unnecessary roughness, Hamilton, number 5.
And Major talking with Dave Dickinson.
The major foul is declined. It's first down for Calgary.
When I look back on the film of this one, first half was so chaotic. on both sides. Second half, Calgary Stampeders just dug their heels in defensively. Seized momentum offensively. That Reggie Begelton catch was huge. And this will do it. Morris, his 5th touchdown in his last 2 weeks. Romar Morris.
Well, next man up, doing a terrific job. Lead block there from the fullback Longley on linebacker Larry Dean.
If you're gonna shut the door and throw away the lock, that's a pretty impressive drive.
Yes, sir. 12 plays, 80 yards, eating up essentially 6 minutes, 5 minutes and 57 seconds to leave the Tiger Cats with less than a minute, trailing by 15.
Minor blemish, 55 to go. Cats would need a miracle here. Stamps look like they're on their way, and Romar Morris in the end zone again. Hall of Fame day, Hamilton. Ottawa Red Blacks watching this one closely later tonight. Perhaps sole possession of first place won't come easy though. Red hot, green hot. Saskatchewan Roughriders, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. After their big win in Winnipeg last week, and Willie Jefferson went off. So, final moments here, last minute. Shakir Ryan, who took one back already. We had a punt return touchdown, a kick return touchdown, specialty teams touchdowns. And we had a big touchdown from the Nissan Titan player of the game.
Yes, sir. A guy who has been the epitome of the next man up for the Calgary Stampeders. Jumping into the lineup with some receiver injuries, Reggie Begelton proves that he is worthy of being in that starting lineup. 5 catches, $150. Had that touchdown, some tough catches. Go-to guy for Bo Levi Mitchell. Reggie Begelton is tonight's Nissan Titan player of the game.
Brought to you by Nissan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. Jeremiah Masoli going to be well short of 300 in this game. Mike Jones able to snare that. Stamps are going to get a couple of weeks to heal. And I guess some question marks. Don Jackson could be healthy. Romar Morris has been outstanding in that lineup. Mark Jordan's done for the year. Eric Rogers is getting close. Sean Thomas Erlington bulldozes into Calgary side of the field. Tavares Daniels is a question mark now. They got to look at him.
Yeah, Stamps get banged up. We'll see who is able to recover over the course of the next couple of weeks, but based on the guys who have stepped up in recent weeks, you talk about Begelton and Morris in particular, I don't think they're too worried.
And speaks to the incredible depth through the years, this organization. Cats depth is tested too. You see some Chad Owens be available. Marquay McDaniel, the former Stamp, is also on their practice roster. Masoli's in trouble. He fumbles the football. It's booted around. And that's it. And the slump for the Hamilton Tiger Cats continues, and the streak for Bo Levi Mitchell. Complete domination over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He tames them every time. 11-0 now, lifetime. 14 straight wins for the Stamps now. Bouncing back from their loss last week. 14 wins in a row over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 43-28 the final here today. Saskatchewan, Ottawa tonight. Goodbye, everybody, from the Hall of Fame day in Hamilton. Here comes SportsCenter.